part of this principles of management part 1, today we will discuss about how the manager's job is changing. So, the important thing is, as with competitiveness, the present business world is facing due to lot of competition in the external environment as well as the dynamic business environment. Now, there are two important things which are coming up. One is customer is the king, customer is the reason that organizations exist. Organizations try to offer, earlier the purpose of organization was to create surplus or profit, but now the concept is shifting towards giving value, providing value to the customers. Managing customer relationship is responsibility of all managers and employees. Consistent high quality customer service is essential for survival of organizations. As earlier we discussed that organization faces different organizational life cycle, starts with growth, initiation initiation, growth, stability and decline phase. So, every organization comes across crisis like situation which is due to several reasons, may be external or internal to the business organizations. External factors could be the political, economic, legal factors, or the customers, say increasing demands of customers. So, as a result, or competitiveness in the industry. So, as a result, the organization faces crisis like situations, and crisis leads to a situation of loss. Sometimes the business organizations are not able to revive from the crisis like situations, and that is how they are not able to maintain their continuity and order. So, the purpose of organization has shifted towards push strategy towards pull strategy. Push is when there was stability, the organizations emphasized on selling the product, and pull strategy is now because of competition there are several options available to the customers. So, customers decide whether to buy a product from a particular company or to buy a product of a different company. So, customer is now considered to be king. Customers, the companies are providing, or organizations emphasis has shifted towards high quality customer service, providing better services to customers, providing more value to, or better services, more value, quality product to the customers. The next point is innovation. If there is no difference in the products sold by company A and company B, and the price is also almost similar, then the customers would not be able to differentiate between the company A and company B's product. So, innovation is something which helps in maintaining the continuity and order. Innovation will provide sustainable competitive advantage to the company. So, doing things differently, innovation means doing things differently, exploring new territories and taking risks. Managers should encourage employees to be aware of and act of opportunities for innovation. So, innovation can give a boost to the company. Innovation provides competitiveness to the company in a phase of intense rivalry between a particular industry. In an industry which is mired with lot of competition, so innovation gives a sustainable competitive advantage. So, we will be discussing about how the workplace has changed over a period of time. Earlier there was lot of competition, earlier the business environment was stable, and the present business environment is highly dynamic and competitive. The dynamic business environment, there are two challenges: how to maintain sustainability and order in the present business environment which is mired with lot of competition. The 2 points that have emerged from the discussion is customers, the companies or organizations need to keep their customers more satisfied by providing innovative products and services. Innovation is now the buzzword, innovation and customer is the king is the buzzword. So, maintaining customer relationship is very important for the managers today, and they have to think differently, think out of the box, explore new territories, take risk. Managers should encourage their employees to be aware of and act on opportunities of innovations, how to innovate. So, impact of change, we will discuss now how the change has happened in the workplace, which has resulted in shift from traditional to modern workplaces. Technology has changed over a period of time. There is evolution of technology. As a result, there is a change in organization's structure. Virtual workplaces, organizational boundaries have shifted, virtual workplace concept has come into being, workforce mobility, workforce is now more mobile, there is a geographical dispersion of employees, flexible work arrangements have come into being, flexibility is taking place now, employees can work from anywhere anytime, empowerment, people or employees are more empowered, work life and personal life balance. There is more emphasis on work and personal life balance. Increased emphasis on organizational and managerial ethics. Redefined values, rebuilding trust, increased accountability. Organizational and managerial ethics concept is also emerging nowadays, because customers will not be satisfied only with the products you offer, the products offered by the company, but they look for more values. Redefining, so value, the concept of value is redefined. The product should be ethically, socially relevant, the product should be meeting ethical norms, standards, so which will help in rebuilding trust with the company. Customer or employer, the customer as well as the company relationship is given more importance, increased accountability. So, these the change in the ethics, managerial ethics has created impact on change in the workplace. Increased competitiveness, as there are large number of companies in a particular industry, which has resulted in emphasis on more customer service or better customer service, innovation, globalization, efficiency and productivity. Changing security threats, risk management, uncertainty over future energy resources, restructuring has been given more emphasis, discrimination concerns, globalization concerns, employee assistance, uncertainty over economic climate. So, managers are ultimately dealing with global economic and political uncertainties, changing workplaces, ethical issues, security threats and changing technologies. So, these factors have led to changes in the contemporary workplace. So, management practices in the new workplace and the old workplace were completely different, and we will discuss what are the factors that have changed in the new workplace and how the evolution has happened. Characteristics, resources, earlier the workplace focused on physical assets. The emphasis was given on the physical assets like land, capital, machinery, workers, and now in the new workplace emphasis is given on information or knowledge. The focus is on knowledge workers efficiency, and otherwise the new workplace is called the knowledge economy. Work is more flexible and virtual. Earlier it was structured and localized. Workers were loyal employees and workers are empowered employees, they are free agents. There is more autonomy and freedom given to employees. The forces in organizations, technology, markets, workforce, values and events. Technology was mechanical in the old workplace, is more digital, and e-business is taking place. Market was localized, market is globalized, workforce was earlier homogeneous, is diverse now, values were stable and stability, emphasis was given on stability and efficiency, and emphasis given today is on speed and change. Events are turbulent today and events were calm and predictable. So, there is a change in the new workplace. The concept of workplace is completely dependent on knowledge economy, e-business, empowerment of employees, management competencies are dispersed and empowered, empowerment of employees. The focus is on connection to customers and employees. The focus was earlier on profits, and working relationship is team based and collaboration. In the earlier times it was individual and individual centric. The organizations were more individualistic. Design was experimentation and learning organizations. Designs earlier, work designs were efficient performance. So, characteristics of the most admired companies, as per the previous discussion, management practices have evolved in the new workplace from the previous workplace. The characteristics of most admired companies is to deliver value to customers, investing in employees, dealing fairly and ethically with suppliers, supporting communities in which they work, generating long term value for shareholders who provide capital that allows companies to invest, grow and innovate, for transparency, effective engagement with shareholders. Each stakeholder is essential for organization and is concerned to deliver value to all of them for success of organizations, community and the country. So, overall there is a shift from the mainstream to multi-stream orientation. Mainstream orientation focused on profit maximization. Their prime focus was earning profit. The companies they created surplus and out of the efficiency or optimum utilization of resources, and the focus was profitability. Multi-stream orientation focused on earning or giving a win-win approach or emphasizing on winning or providing value to or multiple stakeholders associated with organizations. Stakeholders, the stakeholders could be shareholders, the customers, the employees, suppliers and the communities. So, all of them had earned equal share in the organization's profit. Delivering value to customers, they provide value to the customers, being ethical in their by having products which are ethical and the ethical relationship with the customers. Investing in employees, a long term trust is earned with the employees based on how they have shown their trust and loyalty towards the organization. Dealing fairly and ethically with suppliers, supporting communities in which they work. So, shift in focus of management from mainstream to multi-stream approach. Mainstream approach with maximum concern on profit for organization, multi-stream approach maximizing benefits of multiple stakeholders, that is customers, suppliers, employees, investors, shareholders and society, striking a balance to maintain ecological safety, social justice and emphasis on human dignity and happiness, addressing problems of workplace diversity, inclusive approach. So, overall there is a shift in focus in the traditional management to the modern management concept from mainstream to multi-stream approach with concern for all the stakeholders and providing benefit to all, or a win-win approach towards the win-win approach with by partnering benefit with all the stakeholders. Characteristics of excellent enterprises. There are 8 characteristics of excellent enterprises are basically they were oriented towards action, learned about the needs of their customers. The companies have understood that their existence is based on how they serve to the customers. If the customers are happy, they would earn a better brand name. Promoted managerial autonomy and entrepreneurship. They also, the organizations have also understood that a better or happy healthy relationship within the workplace, providing managerial autonomy and creating an environment where an entrepreneurship is given more importance, innovation and entrepreneurship is given emphasis, which will lead to customer satisfaction. So, happy productive workers can always bring back more number of customers. Productivity can be achieved by paying close attention to the needs of the employees or the people. were driven by company philosophy, often based on the values of their leaders. Those companies are more successful which are driven by values. For example, as discussed earlier, Johnson and Johnson is a company which is sustainable in the market because of the core values, because of their ethical concern towards all the stakeholders, be it the customers, employees or the shareholders. They have been more concerned towards all the stakeholders. So, and the values are being framed by the leaders. Focused on the business, they knew the best. They do not focus on each and every aspect, but they focus on what they know the best, the resources which they have the best, or they emphasize on their own strengths rather than highlighting the weaknesses. Had a simple organizational structure with lean staff. So, the organizations mostly emphasize on a structure or a simple organizational structure with a lean staff, lean and efficient staff, were centralized as well as decentralized depending on appropriateness. So, the organizations were more centralized. They strike a balance between centralization and decentralization depending on what is appropriate in the present context. So, multi-stream approach, with taking one example of a multi-stream approach, reorientation of management concept. Johnson and Johnson is a company which is oriented towards action. The credo of Johnson and Johnson is the highlights the need of multiple stakeholder orientation. They are responsible company which not only takes care of the needs of the employees, the customers, the stakeholders, the community at large. So, overall emphasizing of or overall being more ethically concerned towards all the stakeholders. Reorientation of management. Management skills and actions are key to helping organizations overcome crisis. The skills, the basic skills of managers, planning or the conceptual skills, the technical skills or the human skills or the management functions, they always help an organization to overcome crisis like situations, to be more creative, inspired and productive. So, these skills, managerial roles, interpersonal, informational and decisional roles, the planning, organizing, directing and controlling functions, they help managers and help organizations overcome a crisis like situation. Whenever the organization faces a loss like situation or a crisis like situation, so these skills help managers to be more responsive towards or responsive and to be active, to be creative and inspired and productive. So, this will provide a continuous momentum to the organization. The future of work demands less command and control, more of coordination and communication. As the workplace is changing, earlier there was less of or there was more emphasis on stability, and today there is more emphasis on flexibility. So, rigidity, command and control is now replacing coordination, communication and or more of interpersonal relationship. It differs from traditional mindsets of top down control. The top down control exercised by the top management is now phasing out, and emphasis is given on sustainability with flexibility, human dignity and stakeholder concern or stakeholder engagement. So, what will lead an organization in the 21st century is not just command and control economy, but a top bottom up approach with emphasis on participation, engagement and concern for human dignity and flexibility, which will give emphasis on overall sustainability. Successful departments and organizations do not just happen. Successful organizations like GE or Apple, they have not just happened over a period of time, they have just not happened. They have been managed, with a well defined philosophy, they have been managed and well planned so that they are successful. Values of studying management in contemporary environment. Why do we need to study management concept? The principles of universality of management, Do you think management is applicable in all organizations? Be it a profit centered or non-profit organization, the concept of management, planning, organizing, the management functions, planning, organizing, directing and controlling are equally important in all organizations. Good management is needed in all organizations. Whether it is a manufacturing organization or a service centered organization, service oriented organization, be it a philanthropic organization or a public sector organization or a private organization, management is required in all of these organizations. The reality of work, employees either manage or are managed. There are different types of employees. Some can manage themselves, some need to be managed. So, therefore, management is applicable in applicable for all managers. Rewards and of being a manager, rewards of being a manager, management offers challenging, exciting and creative opportunities for meaningfulness of work. Management provides meaningfulness of work. Successful managers receive significant monetary rewards for their efforts. So, basic approaches to define management. If we look at, there are two approaches. One is mainstream and multi-stream approach. Mainstream approach, if we look at this particular quadrant or the diagram, there are two axes, relative emphasis on individualism and relative emphasis on materialism. There are two axes. The first axis says if focus on individualism is too high as well as materialism is high, then the company is more concerned towards earning more profit for themselves. So, that is a mainstream approach. Whereas, in multi-stream approach, if we move further, we can see there is low on individualism and low on materialism, which means that the companies are more focused towards giving equal importance to equal weightage to all the stakeholders. There is less emphasis on individualism, less emphasis on materialism. They are less concerned towards their own benefit, more concerned towards giving equal importance to or winning together approach. Mainstream approach is characterized by its primary emphasis on materialistic individualistic well-being. Multi-stream approach is characterized by emphasis on multiple forms of well-being for multiple stakeholders. Stakeholder is any group of person with or within or outside an organization who is directly affected by organization and has a stake in its performance. So, there is a shift in focus of management from mainstream to multi-stream approach. Mainstream approach, which is more concerned towards profit or surplus, which is surplus and productivity, profitability and competitiveness. The major emphasis of multi-stream approach is to strike a balance among multiple forms of well-being for multiple stakeholders. The concern for society, concern for ecological safety and ecological balance, spirituality, physical and aesthetic. Comparing mainstream and multi-stream approach as opposed to the as opposite ends of continuum. The planning in mainstream approach is quantifiable goals, top down analysis. Multi-stream approach emphasizes on practical wisdom and participative approach. Participation of all stakeholders, participation of employees, organizing was done through standardization and specialization of task in mainstream approach. Multi-stream approach, the emphasis is on courage and experimentation. Leading was done through instrumental motivation and the results or output. Motivation behind or the leading function in multi-stream approach was relational self-control. By relationship, emphasizing on relationship building, customer relationship, stakeholder relationship management, and controlling was done through vigilance or information system. The control in case of multi-stream approach was through justice, fairness, equity and sensitization. So, in comparing mainstream approach with the multi-stream management definitions, mainstream approach, the process of planning, organizing, leading and controlling human and other resources with the aim of achieving organizational goals efficiently and effectively. In multi-stream approach, the process of planning, organizing, leading and controlling human and other resources, controlling all the resources, human and other land, capital, machinery, etc., with the aim of achieving organizational goals virtuously and effectively. The key idea behind is maximize productivity, and the main interest was self motive or self interest. In the second multi-stream approach, the key idea was to nurture community, nurturing relationship, maintaining say equity, justice via virtue. So, there is less emphasis on individualism and less emphasis on materialism. Planning was setting an organization's goals and strategies, deciding appropriate organizational resources required to enable achieving them. The idea was top down linear analysis, the goals were measurable. In the multi-stream approach, working together to identify organizational goals and strategies as well as appropriate organizational resources to enable achieving them, practical wisdom and participation. Organizing in the second case is assigning tasks and arranging resources to meet organizational goals, ensuring assigning tasks and arranging resources to meet organizational goals. Key idea is standardization, specialization and centralization. In the second case, multi-stream, ensuring tasks are assigned and adequate resources are arranged to facilitate meeting organizational goals. Leading, motivating others that their work efforts serve to meet organizational goals. Working alongside, in the multi-stream approach, working alongside others, together everyone's work efforts serve to meet agreed upon organizational goals. Controlling was monitoring organizational members' performance, comparing it to standards, taking corrective actions to improve performance as necessary. In multi-stream approach, ensuring that actions of organizational members are just and consistent with organizational underpinning values. So, why there is a need to study two approaches of management? Basically, it reminds us that management is not value neutral. There is moral responsibility inherent in being a manager. This helps develop integrative thinking skills that will enhance management capabilities. It helps develop a richer understandings of both approaches, multi-stream as well as mainstream approach. It helps understand managers lie along a continuum. Managers are not necessarily adopting mainstream approach, sometimes they adopt multi-stream approach. So, it is just like the managerial style is within a continuum, it lies along a continuum. So, therefore, understanding both approach is beneficial for a manager to know whether profit is the prime concern. As earlier in the previous discussions we emphasized that the very purpose of organization is to earn profit, but today when the competition has increased, there are many options available to customers. So, customers or stakeholders can always take a rational decision which company is most viable for them to maintain relationship. So, therefore, profit cannot be the prime concern of organizations, but along with profit there is need to emphasize on stakeholder relationship, concern for equity, concern for fairness, justice and as well as concern for maintaining ecological balance. Or in conclusion, we can say that there should be emphasis on people, planet and profit together. So, overview of principles of management: planning decides on goals and strategies, organizing decides structures and designing structures and allocating resources to people, leading is ensuring members are motivated and are able to perform, controlling ensures valued results are achieved. So, emphasis of these four management functions, planning, organizing, leading or directing and controlling, is to ensure that the task within the organization is as per the plans, and there is a well defined plan or which need to be executed by organizing the tasks, allocating resources to employees, ensuring members are motivated to accomplish those desired goals or plans, and there is a corrective action taken so that there is no deviation in any of the plans. Understanding the context of management is equally important. So, there would be, we will be learning about the historical evolution of management context, the task environment, international environment, ethical and entrepreneurial, and how to be entrepreneurial. So, universality of management concept, all sizes of organizations, be it a small organization or large organization, management is required. All types of organizations, profit or non-profit organizations, from the top to bottom, both all organizational levels, the concept of management is required. All organizational areas, manufacturing, marketing, human resource, accounting, information, etc., the management concepts are equally relevant. So, thus what we discuss now is universality of management. Management principles. Concluding this discussion, I would like to say that management is universally applicable in all sizes of organizations, at all levels, all types of organizations and in all areas. Thank you.